Hi everyone, good afternoon from California and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, if you're seeing me for the very first time, I'd like to know you and I'd like to meet you. Where in the world are you watching from? Please do want to like this video and do want to also share with your friends and your village members. So guys, without further ado, let's just get right into today's topic. Today we are talking about how to be part of the 1% of the 1% of the 1%. Pretty much, we're talking about the productivity rules of the top 1%. So if you really want to be highly productive, if you're a business owner and entrepreneur, a career-oriented person, these tips are for you. If you found out that, or you've been on this journey of being trying to be very productive, but you've not been able to find a balance between the things that you need to do. Today I'm going to be sharing a couple of tips and tricks that will help you become more productive. Just so you know, this is part 2 because I started last week. Yes, this is a series and I think it's going to end today. So last week I talked about having relentless self-discipline. So in case you missed it, you can watch the previous video, the previous live stream that I hosted here on this channel. Please introduce yourselves in the comments. Do not forget, like this video and do also share. So I talked about waking up early and following a structured daily routine. I also talked about staying committed to your goals even when you lack the motivation. And I also talked about prioritizing your health, your fitness, and your mental well-being. And guys, if this is something that you can relate with, also let me know in the comments. Also share some of the tips because, like I said, this is a channel where I want to learn from you guys as well. So if you also use any productivity tips, also share with us in the comments. So last week I ran through some of the tips that helped me to continue to be productive with my businesses. So I talked about relentless self-discipline, and the second thing I talked about is lifelong learning and of course intellectual growth. You're constantly learning, and last week I mentioned that the day you stop learning is the day you begin to die. If you're no longer learning, you're just complacent, you're just okay where you are, you're not trying to get better. You have to get better, you have to keep getting better and better and better. That's exactly how you keep on improving. That's how you keep on getting more productive, because if you don't aspire to be better, you're going to be left behind. Like technology can get you behind, can leave you behind if you don't stay up to trends, if you don't stay updated with lifelong learning, daily reading books. Yes, read business books, read psychology books, read books on finance, read books on leadership. Stay informed about global events and of course industry trends, what is going on in your industry. You need to continuously also seek mentorship and of course professional development. That's why, see, when it comes to writing professional exams or professional development, I am always I'm always available for it. Thank you so much for joining. Please do also share this live stream with your friends. Click on the share button. So yes, I also talk about having financial mastery. Yes, building multiple streams of income. You need to build multiple streams of income and also invest your time wisely. Financial mastery is very, very important. So build multiple streams of income. Side hustles. Start a business or start a new business, or just do something that helps to increase your bottom line at the end of the day. Because when you understand wealth building principles, you will thrive. You will continue to thrive in this economy, especially. And then the next thing I talked about last week was high value networking. Surround yourself with ambitious people, surround yourself with high flyers, people who are dreamers and doers, people who are dreamers and achievers. You have to constantly surround yourself with these people, and that is something I constantly talk about here on this channel. You have to constantly, learn. You have to constantly, seek people who are better than you and build strategic relationships. You also need to learn to communicate effectively and also command respect, because when you show up, you're actually representing your brand. You're building a brand, whether you like it or not. That you're building a persona. People will perceive you, in a certain way. So you have to be very mindful each time that you show up for yourself, especially on social media, because that's the only way people get to, read you or perceive you or form an opinion or a perception about you or your brand. Now, the next thing you need to do is to master emotional intelligence. I talked about it last week in my, live stream. You need to be emotionally intelligent. And I also mentioned last week that, as a matter of fact, there are lots of celebrities and business owners that you think, on the outside, you perceive them to be competitors. But trust me, they are not competitors. Behind closed doors, they are collaborators. So you have to learn the art of emotional intelligence. There was a time that Apple had an issue, they needed to raise, they were kind of like going bankrupt. And I remember vividly because I learned this when I was in grad school, when I was studying for my master's degree in business. For my MBA, I learned that Microsoft, Bill Gates, actually built them out. He built them out. He needed a competitor for him to even, remain on the field, for him to remain as a player. He needed to build. So when you think of competitors, especially for small business, that's why I said, at the top, they're collaborating. Successful people collaborate. Poor people, they compete. You're not competitors. You should be collaborating, because when you collaborate, you win together. You see their win as your win and your win as their win. Their win is a testament that it is possible for you to also be successful. And that's why, honestly, you need to, learn the art of emotional intelligence, and of course, collaboration. Now, do not forget, you also need to read people. You need to understand people. You need to, constantly build that, you know understand how to read people, so that you can navigate social dynamics. Yes, you can navigate it skillfully. And you also need to build strong relationships through, empathy, and through also having effective communication. As a good communicator, you also need to learn the art of listening. A lot of people don't know how to listen to others. They don't know how to be, quiet and listen and hear what people are saying, because a lot of times we want to cut people off. We want to push our own narratives out. We want to say something we don't want to hear. But part of being successful, becoming very productive, without wasting too much of your time, is listening, especially to your clients or your customers or your potential customers. If they are telling you we want to see more of this, then take note of it. Just say, no, 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 this is exactly what I want to provide. This is how I want to do my thing. No, if they want it provided in a certain way, then if it's something that you can walk around, listen to them, listen to them. And you also need to build credibility. Build the credibility by showing or demonstrating your expertise, demonstrating the things that that you have high proficiency in. You also need to learn ruthless time management. Ruthless time management. When we talk about time management, a lot of people, and I get DMs all the time, when people say, how do you manage your time effectively? It starts from the mind. It starts from the mind. If you're struggling, with time management, leave it in the comment. Just write time in the comments. If you're struggling with time management, just write time in, just type time in the comments. So a lot of people actually, suffer from, time management. They don't have time management skills. You need to prioritize high impact activities, and you also need to eliminate distractions. Now, last week I also mentioned that you need to protect your energy. It's not about doing, what do you do in the morning? Okay, because I can work out in the morning, or I can do. No, I think you should spend it when you wake up in the morning. You should do things that require the highest, brain tasks first. That's a way to actually manage your energy. Use planners, use calendars, productivity tools to also stay organized. Because the truth of the matter is, if you spend your time doing what doesn't really require mental strength, and you end up getting so tired, and you now need to do things that require a high level, a high dosage of mental strength, you're unable at the end of the day, you cannot say that you've achieved anything meaningful. But if you had spent time, your highest energy, on prioritizing what is most important for you during that day, then you can say that you've achieved something for the day. So it's not just about ticking a box, ticking what is most important first, if possible. Well, I studied economics, and I have come to understand the importance of your scale of preference. What are the things that you need to do? What are your priorities? So you itemize everything that you need to do and write them in order of priority, in order of importance. That's what the scale of preference is telling us about. And then when you're able to itemize the things that are most important, then at that point, would you be able to then do what is most important first? And in case you're struggling with this is a reminder from me to you that you can actually prioritize what is most important for you first. Now, let's talk about health and fitness optimization. Health is wealth. Health, like they say, is the new wealth. You can amass all the money in the world, but without good health, it's a waste of money. It's honestly, it's the waste, because you will not enjoy it. So you need to also exercise regularly. Strength training, yoga, cardio. You need to prioritize self-care. And honestly, when you pour into yourself, you are actually with in terms of your health and wellness, in terms of fitness, you are actually way richer than you think. When you pour into your health, you are richer than you think. Now, guys, let's talk about maintaining a balanced diet and also prioritizing your mental health. Leaving circles that don't serve you, leaving people who don't add value to your life, leaving people who are toxic, people who just do everything to put you down, or people who make you question your life or your existence, people who make you think that you're less than who you are. You need to excuse yourself from such people, and also develop habits, yes, for longevity. Habits like quality of sleep, and stress management. If there's anyone that is taking away your peace, my people, you know what to do now. Remove them. Remove them. Avoid them. Just stay away from them, so that they don't affect your mental health. Now, you need to also have unshakable confidence. You need to show up like the boss every single time. There was a time Rihanna was interviewed, and she said, they asked her, how do you comport yourself on days that you're not really feeling like it, that you're not really feeling confident? What did she say? She said, fake it till you make it. That she fakes it, that she fakes the confidence. So you need unshakable confidence. And I always say this. I always say that what you're afraid of is afraid of you. You go into a garden and you see a lot of top-notch people. And I'll also share a story with you guys. Back when I was in the university, in my 100 level, I remember very well. Was it 100 level or 200 level? 207, it was 200 level, 200 level. So I usually go for auditions, modeling, casting, casting shows and stuff like that. So I went for an audition, and I saw this set of girls in the building. This set of girls were laughing. They were on like full makeup, glam. So they were laughing at people that were walking in. Honestly, I thought they were the panel of judges when I walked in. So I went to them because we hadn't started, queuing up for the audition. So everyone can just sit anywhere. So I went directly to where they were, and I asked them for a seat. And I was surprised that these girls actually came for the audition as well. They came to be auditioned. I tell you, there were people who walked into that building. They saw this set of girls laughing at people who were coming in, and they went back. They were so intimidated that they disappeared from the scene. I tell you, when I sat with them, I realized that they were just they came for the audition just like I did. And I was wondering, why are you laughing at other people? Why are you trying to intimidate people to go back to their bases? And I also realized that these set of girls, they were less than average, excuse my language. They were less than average, and they are laughing at other people, So if you allow people who are, who don't even know what they want out of life to intimidate you, you have lost. You have lost. So you need to have unshakable confidence. You need to believe in yourself, like trust your guts, go in with your A game and trust yourself. Believe in yourself, speak with authority, and speak with self-assurance. I tell you, when you constantly say certain things, positive things about yourself to yourself every day, that's why words of affirmation is very important. When you constantly say positive things to yourself every day, you start to believe it, you start to act in it, you start to walk in it, you start to become it. When you say, I am smart, I deserve the best of the best, you will start to attract the best of the best of the best. So you see, guys, you need to have unshakable confidence. You need to command attention in meetings, which means you got to dress your part. You got to be looking like a bag of money. You see me, I come correct every time. Like, I'm not here to play. We're not here for the average. We're here to win real big. I tell you, so you need to, command attention even in negotiation and public speaking. Even if you're not feeling like it, even if you don't have the confidence, as it were, my people, just act it out. Act like it. I'm telling you, so you also need to develop an abundance mindset. Always. Thank you so much, Laro Timi Abiodun. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Please double tap, please like, and also do well to share this live stream. So yes, I talked about developing that abundance mindset. Never ever operate from fear or scarcity. So for those of you that know me, I also my God, thank you for joining in. I am well. Thank you, bros. So I talked about also because I own a luxury clothing line. I own a luxury brand, and at the time when I first started my brand, my clothing line, I had low ballers. I had some clients who would come to me and say, "Oh, I want to pay this very like." They literally don't have a budget, and I excuse them from me. I tell them, "I'm sorry, I don't think you're the right fit, or I don't think we are the right fit for each other. You can check elsewhere for cheaper, trashy customer service." I I give the best of the best. So this is what I am. I mean, if you go to stores like Louis Vuitton, you're not going to go there and say, "Oh, is it not $10 or is it not $100?" Are you kidding yourself? No, you have to respect the fact that it is Louis Vuitton, and you also have to respect the fact that it is my brand. Yes. So I don't operate from scarcity and I don't operate from fear. Now you also have to be a risk taker, take strategic risks, and also be innovative, You also need to embrace something called discomfort. And I always say this as well. I say thank you for the likes, or brother Steven, thank you so much. God bless you. I always say that you need to take risks. I mean, life is a risk, and you need to embrace discomfort, because nothing grows in your comfort zone. When you're too comfortable somewhere, when you're too relaxed, when you don't have that zeal, that willingness to push, there's no extra push coming from you, there's no extra efforts coming from you to be better or to do something better, then you start to wither away. When you're not growing, then you start to wither away. That's why it is very important that, if you want to really grow, you need to embrace discomfort and, step outside of your comfort zone. I also talked about, taking calculated risks, whether in your business, in your investments opportunities, in your careers, and you also need to, when you fail, you don't stay down, you get back up again. When you fail, or when things don't go your way, or you tried something and it doesn't work out, it's okay to try again. Don't ever give up on yourself, and don't let people who have given up on their own dreams talk you out of your own dreams. Don't let people who have given up on their dreams talk you out of your own dreams. In case you see me, hi Toya, thank you for joining in. In case you see me mentioning names, I'm live on other platforms as well. So yes, another thing that you need to understand is that you need vision driven discipline. You need vision driven discipline. You don't just need any kind of routine, you need a legacy building structure. Some people actually have a strict routine that lead nowhere. Maybe it's time for you to re-strategize, maybe it's time for you to shake it a bit, shake it up a little bit. So you need to rise with intention. Starts with gratitude, starts with your words of affirmation, and of course a high protein meal, a high protein diet. your planner is something that you also need. You need to have a daily planner. So use it to time block, your tasks as business owner or as a CEO, your body goals, and of course your creative work as well. So you need to actually be vision driven. You need to also have strategic energy conservation. I talked about it in the beginning. You need to really manage your energy. Do not let people drain you when you are in a meeting with someone and maybe the person is kind of like making you feel drained. My people, protect your peace and excuse yourself from that meeting. Hi, Fato Bojang or Bojang. Thank you for joining in. Please double tap like this live and also do well to, share this video as well. Thank you. Thank you so much, Just. Thank you for the gifts. Thank you. So you need to also, like I said, value networking is very important. Yes, because it helps with your divine alignment. When you surround yourself with people that sharpen your mind, when you constantly surround yourself with people that feed your spirit, it helps you to, be productive, to join the 1% of the 1% who live a productive life, who are constantly productive, like every single day. Then keep building those silent investor and sponsorship circles. Keep building those silent, networks of people that add value to you, people who will recommend you, people who would mention your name in rooms that are filled with opportunities, people who are going to mention your name. You also need to be in those circles. Then nurture your king connection. Yes, nurture your own king connect. Nikki, thank you so much for joining. You also need to prioritize your inner and outer glow. Yes, your body transformation is also part of your CEO armor, as a business owner. Stick to that, the number of the calories that you need to take per day. Maybe it's 1800, hydrate like it's currency, drink a lot of water. These are ways to actually keep being productive. When you're eating healthy, you're feeding your mind, your body, and soul with the right nutrients, including the right kind of friends, the right people that should be in your mental space. Don't let toxic people live rent free in your head. It is not worth it. I promise you. Invest in your skin. Yes, I have a very strict skincare routine. I have a daily skincare, morning and night. I have AM and I have PM. You have to invest in your skin, your smell. You have to be smelling like a bag of money and your vibe, because you are the walking brand. Now, let's talk about having the wealth coded mindset. Wealth coded mindset. Now, you're already shifting from having a broke mindset or broke mentality into thinking about generational wealth. Show me blessed. Thank you for joining in. Please like and do all to share as well. So you're already shifting from that broke thinking. You need to also study money, like you're preparing for a financial revolution. Take your time. You can also set weekly revenue targets for yourself. Okay, this is how much I want to make every day, even if it's from your side hustle. Document the flow, you know document the flow. Don't forget, your life is your brand. Your life is your brand, and your words are your wealth. So say positive things, proclaim positive things, declare positive things about yourself, about your brand, about your life, about your family, about your kids. So begin to also appear in public strategically. When you see me in public, you see a brand, you see a walking billboard. There's no way in the world you catch me not ready. I'm always ready. Each time I want to step out of this, my home, I am coming correct. I'm coming like I'm ready for business. I'm here with my business cards. I'm always ready for business collaborations and connections and all of the good stuff. I tell you, so you need to begin to go to the public, and go out of your house, be strategic about it. Even when I'm going to the store, I am strategic about it. I kid you not. When you see me in Costco, you see me, I'm coming correct. I'm not just coming like in my slippers, or coming in my bonnet. No, I'm coming correct. And it's even if I walk into a grocery store, I kid you not, like I'm coming correct. Every time I step out of this house, out of my home, I am coming correct. And please As a lady, if you are a lady watching me right now, also tap into your feminine grace. Your softness is not a weakness, it is a divine force. There's a way you speak that you command respect, you command authority, you command, obedience, as it were. You say it, and you say it like you mean it. Hi, Vanessa. Thank you for joining me. You say it like you mean it, and people will take you seriously. So you need to tap into your divine, feminine grace. Lead with grace. Lead with, grace, nurture with power, and let your presence be unforgettable. Let your presence be unforgettable. Hi, Bremo. Thank you for joining in. When you go into a space, let them feel your presence. Let them know that, okay, you were here. I'm not asking you to be lousy, but there's a way you show up. Your spirit, your mind, everything aligns. And the way you carry yourself goes a long way. People will they would address you by the way you address yourself. If you go into a gathering or you meet a set of people for the very first time and they say, "What is your name?" and you say, "Oh, my name is Cassie," or "My name is, Success," and you carry yourself like that, that's what they will call you back. They'll say, "Hey, Success, how are you?" Well, if you go to a place and you just, the way you even introduce yourself is like you're a nobody, you're a non-entity, no one should take you seriously, then they would not take you seriously. If you really want to be taken seriously, then you have to act like it. You have to come correct. You have to really, show your part. You have to show up, correctly. Now, guys, there are lots and lots of ways to actually, join the 1% of the 1% of the 1% in terms of productivity, and I also want to hear from you as well. I want to read from you. What are your productivity tips? What are the things that you do to, get a lot of things done, to get, maximum job done on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, or even on a quarterly basis, or even on a yearly basis? There are lots and lots and lots of, tips and tricks that we can tweak in our lives. Hi, Lemon. Thank you for joining in. There are lots of things that we can add, and then do. We can do a lot of things differently and start to manifest, success in all that we do. There are lots of inner works that we all need to do. They are required to co-create and also sustain the kind of life that you want to live, the kind of life that you desire. There are lots and lots of things. You can design your framework yourself. You can start to use sticky notes. Write down a list of things that you want to achieve every single day. So you can write everything you want to achieve tomorrow, you can write it down today and follow through. Because if you don't do that, there is a high likelihood that you will not achieve your goals. There's a high likelihood that you will not achieve your goals if you don't write down your goals, if you don't write down your list, the list of things that you want to accomplish every single day. Always write it down. Always write down the list of things that you want to accomplish, even down to your revenue. You want to make X amount of money. What are the things that you should do? Or how many products should you sell? Or how much is one of your products? How many of them should you? And if you need to, reach out to brands, companies, local businesses near you, how many of them do you have to reach out to? What products or services do you have to offer? And how much do you have to sell your minimum products and your highest grossing products, or your highest, tier of products or service? And how many clients do you need? How do you want it? How do you want the payment? Is it monthly? Is it bi-weekly? Is it weekly? Is it daily? Is it, yearly? How do you actually want it? Because the truth of the matter is that if you really want to experience, you want to achieve success, then you have to be intentional about it. If you want to be productive, you have to be intentional about it. Being productive is not something that you just say, "Oh, I just want to be productive," and it comes to pass. No, you have to be really intentional. You have to be mindful. All of these factors come into play: how you present yourself in the public, how you speak about yourself, what you tell people about your brand. And trust me, every time you walk out of the door, you are showing people have a perception of you, your personal brand, what you stand for. Even when you are live on social media, like I'm live right now on multiple platforms, you are portraying a brand. You're portraying an identity for yourself and for your brand. So whether I like it or not, you're actually building a personal brand for yourself. And like I said, it all matters how you show up How do you show up every single time for yourself? And if you really, really, really want to be successful, then you have to be intentional about it. Because the truth of the matter is, true success is an intentional journey. I've not seen one person that was accidentally successful. No one achieves success by accident. Success is not an accident. It is a series of, intentional work. You have to be intentional about your journey to success. So if you really want to be successful, then you have to really, do things that would help you become successful. And I've seen a lot of people say, "Oh, I have this idea." People, they never run out of ideas. They have a lot of ideas, but they never execute any of them. That's where productivity actually comes in. When you have ideas, when you have goals, you have dreams, you have aspirations, you have a mental picture of what you want, of what you desire to see about in future for yourself or for your brand. You want to accomplish certain things, but you don't write them down. You don't work towards them. Trust me, it's only a dream. It's just an idea. It's just an idea that will just fade away if you don't make any attempts, if you don't take any, if you don't make any step, if you don't make any, if you don't do anything about it, if you don't do anything towards making it becoming a reality. And trust me, sometimes we really desire, but we don't even know how to go about it. That's why mentorship comes in. If you'd like to book a one-on-one consultation with me, you can send me a DM, or you can, just join my Patreon community and book a one-on-one consultation with me. And sometimes I've come across people who also want to start a business, but they don't know how to go about it. They don't know where to start from. They don't even know what product, but they know for sure that they want to start a business. They don't know what products, they don't know what service, they don't know their market, they don't know who they want to serve, and they don't even know how to register their businesses. I can help you achieve that. So if you would like to book a one-on-one consultation, that's why I said mentorship is very important. Even me, I have mentors. We continue learning. Learning is a lifelong process for me. I don't know about you. And I also read books every single day. Make it a priority. We have 24 hours in a day. And if you don't plan some things, if you don't plan certain things, it just will not happen, because you have not planned those things. You have not planned, you've not added it to your list of itinerary for the day. So you need to be intentional. Out of the 24 hours that we have in a day, you can devote, even if it's 30 minutes, to reading a book every single day. See, when you are able to master your time, when you actually have self mastery of your time, your energy, and the things that you do every day, you are already halfway there. You're already half successful. And if you are also able to take mastery of your health, your fitness journey, the food that you eat, everything that goes into your body, as well as your workout. If you have a workout routine for yourself, you are already halfway successful. Because the truth of the matter is, when you work out consistently, it helps you to train your mind to achieve anything. You can train your mind, and get anything at all done. You can take anything off your bucket list. And I hope that with these few points of mine, I've been able to convince you. I hope I have been able to convince you and not confuse you, that you can actually be productive and be among the 1% of the 1% that are super, super productive in 2025. If you need me to, talk about a particular topic of your interest, please leave it in the comments. And I want to say a big thank you once again to you guys for joining me. I'll see you guys in my next video. Take care of yourselves and God bless you. Bye for now.